Hi, everyone. Welcome to July and welcome to the Other World podcast. Hi, Fiona.
Hi, Deni.
I'm going to start off this week. We're looking at the week of the 5th to the 11th of July. This week for me is all about love and desire. And those two together and what the differences are between them and how they can come together. As I've said in the July podcast, it's the month of Mars and Venus. And to me, Mars is a very good way to describe desire. It's that fire and passion, kind of that like want and need energy. Almost like a hunger. When I think of desire, it can be a really beautiful thing, but it can also be a destructive thing if it's misaligned. Imagine like a workman at a building site, and he sees a beautiful woman and he just comes from that raw place of I want or I like, and wolf whistles with no concern of her. That's kind of like that desire place that's like misaligned. This week's all about Venus. So we bring Venus into the picture. Mars kind of like was there at the beginning of the week. That desire place can be beautiful, that raw place of what we want. But when we bring Venus into it, it brings a whole new level. Venus is love. And when you bring love into that desire place, it serves yourself, but it also has this place of serving the greater, serving everyone, serving from a greater place than just self. That's that love-led desire. It just takes it to a whole new level. So, for instance, if we look at the place of desire from a non-powered place, an disempowered place, we desire probably things like you might think, okay, think of something that you really want. I mean, this is not me, but a lot of people desire beautiful cars. Say you desire a beautiful sports car. That's the want and the need in this world. But then you think, what is it that car gives me? What is it that I get from that car? And that could be, well, to drive around in a beautiful sports car makes me feel powerful. And when you bring the Venus part of it into it, it's how else can I feel powerful from an internal place? What can make me feel that power from a internal self-fulfilled place? And that could be, I feel powerful when my body feels powerful. So another way to get that to that place could be exercising and really getting your body into a place where it feels powerful. So that's just kind of like the bringing Venus into the picture this week, so that our desires come from a heart-based place. This week, Venus goes into squares and oppositions. She starts off opposing Saturn. So with Saturn comes the place of what needs to fall away so we can deepen our love. What is holding us back from deepening our love? Is there expectations? Are there rules? Are there beliefs that we have that need to be questioned in order for us to deepen that love place, to bring our love into our creations? Then Venus goes into a square with Uranus. And the questions that might come up around Uranus is, what does love look like for me? Does it need to look like what I was told when I was growing up? Does it need to look like what my parents think it looked like? Do I need to look like I fit into society in a certain way? There'll be maybe big questions that come up around love, and not fitting in? Can I walk differently? Can I stand out, even if it means walking alone? You might be called to look at your perception of yourself and the perception that others have of you, and question that, and maybe needing to walk a different path, or walk your path with more power, empowerment. Both Venus and Mars are in Leo, and the sun's going to move into Leo. And actually, there will be a beautiful time at the end of this week when the moon moves into Leo as well. Leo's a place of creativity. What do I want to create? How do I want to express myself in this world? And again, there's that place of desire that you could meet. I want to be a world famous singer, but you could then also bring love or Venus into it. I want to do that so that I spread music and joy into the world. So that's just those two places that I think we're going to come up against a lot this week. Then what we've also got that place of Leo is showing up. So if we look at what we want to put out in the world and what we desire and what we want to come, where we want to put our love out into the world, it actually requires us stepping up and doing something. So whatever it is that you do want to create, whether it's you're a writer, well, writers need to write. Painters need to paint. Runners need to run. You actually need to show up and do the thing that you desire, or do the thing, move in the directions of your desire or your love. Unless we show up and put in to a practice showing up to do the thing, we can't be met by inspiration. So we show up, we open the door, and inspiration meets us at the door. But first of all, we have to get to the door ourselves. At the end of this week, Venus comes up against an opposition with Kali. Kali is the truth, the goddess of truth. So even if we don't want to, she's going to be there going, no, you need to show up, and you need to look at these places. I'm not going to take no for an answer. We need you in your full power. We need you coming from that absolute love-filled place. Venus is the feminine. So coming from that place of feeling, emotion, intuition, she's going to want you as clean as possible, because when we go into next week, Venus will meet Mars. They will come conjunct. So that's the masculine and the feminine meeting. So we want the feminine to be in the most love-filled, wholehearted place that she can be when she meets that masculine. I probably should bring in my 2 cards this week. And I could not have picked better. I mean, I got to tell you that when I picked the ring again, I wanted to put it back, because it's like, you've got to be kidding me, the ring again. But then I picked another one, and I got Eros. And then I knew that they spoke to each other, because Eros is the place of desire and the ring is the union, the love. So it's just this beautiful balance between love and desire. And I think this will show up also in our relationships. So that questioning of, am I giving and receiving what I need out of my relationships? Is there balance? I think that may actually come more into play next week when the two meet, but also looking at those places of what we desire for ourselves, but also what we desire out of our partnerships, and bringing your wholehearted self into your partnerships so that you can grow the love in a deeper way. That's me, Fi.
How exciting. I love that. And it was interesting when you started with the kind of analogy of being wolf whistled, and I thought, oh, can't even remember the last time that happened to me. And then there was a question around, well, is that because I'm now 60 years old and you don't generally get wolf whistled when you're that old? Or is it because the world has changed somewhat and men tend not to do that anymore? And I don't know the answer, but I suspect it's both. But yes, yeah, thank you. That was, yeah, beautiful. It sounds like a beautiful week ahead to dive into all of that. And I love the, you know, the concept of love and desire and passion, and that igniting our creativity, which is beautiful. It's a good place to sit, I think. So for me this, I'm actually going to start with my card. So I chose this card, which is the Two of Earth, and this I really love this card because it's all about balance. And of course, I'm a balanced person. That's part of my soul's characteristics, part of my soul's makeup. So balance to me is incredibly important. It also speaks to sort of healthy boundaries and good time management. But the deeper message for this card is for you to take notice of the messages and omens in your day-to-day life. It's all about duality and finding middle ground, which seems to be, I don't know if it's the same for you or for everyone else, this seems to be a real theme this week. And I've been going through very strange experiences this week. I mean, we are here in Sydney in lockdown anyway, which kind of changes the energy around us somewhat. But you know, I've been going through these feelings of just wanting to stay at home and be on my own, and then wanting to be out and around people, yearning to be social and wanting to go out for a walk, and then also needing just to stay at home and do nothing, and driven to work and create something new, and then just wanting to play and be creative. And there's these, seems like these two extremes all the time, and I've felt very drawn to finding the middle ground between those two extremes all week. So that has been a theme that's really been playing out for me a lot this week. I've been flowing between the two and finding, I guess, my own place of peace in balance, in between those two places. And I feel very much as if that's what this card is speaking to. It's actually been quite joyful, that experience. It hasn't been difficult, but it's just been an observation around these, you know, different parts or different aspects of myself that I've been observing this week, and noticing how I've been just kind of gently finding my way through them. And also something that has come up, which I think this card speaks to as well, is just the birds at the moment. I have been noticing, well, not so much so many birds. I mean, the birds are always there, but the birds are almost right in my face. As I sit here at my desk and I look out, you know, I'm looking out on my garden, and the birds have been, actually, there isn't a bird in sight at the moment. Must be the first time for this week, but they are around all the time, and they're coming in groups. So I'll get groups of cockatoos, and then groups of magpies, and then groups of kookaburras, and they're just coming in groups, and it feels very much as if they're bringing messages. I feel like I may have been an augur in a previous life, actually, because I often tune into the messages that birds bring, but their messages are so strong at the moment. And this card speaks to noticing the signs and symbols around you in your day-to-day life. And so for the week ahead, I would take notice of the birds around you, and what are they doing and how are they showing up for you. Pay attention to them and see what arises within yourself as you do that. This card speaks very much to those signs and omens that the birds can bring. So that was my starting point for today. And then diving into the numerology for this week. July, I think we mentioned last week, has a lighter energy to it than, say, the last 2 months. And this is the 7th month of a 5-year, which makes July a 3-month in terms of numerology. And as I touched on last week, this means that there'll be an undercurrent of communication, weaving its way through the month. So you will, I'm sure, in many ways notice the power of your words and the words of other people's as you observe communication really in all of its forms. How do you communicate effectively with others to heal with your words, for example? Also, how you can shatter or destroy others through, you know, what my dad used to call loose lips, through gossip or talking about others in a negative way. Is that something that's surrounding you or coming up for you in your life? Do you have a tendency to speak for the sake of speaking without really saying anything? You know, do you use your words as weapons when you feel hurt or scared yourself? But also communication is about listening. So that can raise questions really around, are you listening to what others are saying to you? Or are you yourself feeling heard? Do you feel that other people are listening to what you have to say? So I feel like these themes will be playing out over the next few weeks and bringing your attention to them. But for this week specifically, we are in week 27 of the year. So this brings in the energies of the 9 archetype. And this means that you will be sitting in the energy of letting go or releasing something. It will guide you into a place of looking within and observing whether you are really struggling to let something go, even if there's nothing left to hang on to. So what are you still really desperately holding onto? And that can play across all life areas, so relationships or career, finances or family, etc. So you'll just be asked to notice this week, what are you still hanging on to that no longer serves you or others? 9 energy represents endings, completion and conclusion to something, and usually something major. So be aware this week that it is time for you to let go and release something, for something to come to an end, and know that you're really supported in a big way to let that go in whatever way that you personally need to. Something bigger and better is waiting to come in. So sometimes focusing on that makes the process of letting go a little easier. If you can focus on what the letting go is going to bring in for you, it can make that process much easier. So when 9 is derived from the energies of 2 and 7, as this week is, you can also look at, again, the concept of duality of the emotions, which is the energy of 2, and the intellect, which is the energy of 7. And of course, you can view those as masculine and feminine as well. But for the week ahead, you may really want to consider how you're being guided to find your own personal balance between your thoughts and your feelings, and how when you bring those 2 aspects of self together in harmony, you're really working at your most empowered. When your mind and your heart align with each other, you make the wisest and most aligned choices for yourself. So think of this week as an opportunity to create more inner alignment in a more powerful way. Consider the decisions that you have to make at the moment and how you can use that support, the support of the energy of this week, to serve you best. So, you know, what we've learned really this year is that everything is constantly changing in a big way. And this month is going to support you to find new ways to communicate with others in a more powerful way. And this week in particular is going to bring opportunities to let something significant go so that the new way of being can flow more easily in. It's also likely to heighten your creativity, inspiration, and intuition as you connect with the 2 energies of the week ahead. So all of this can feel a little more joyful this week as you embody those energies of the month. So, you know, there's a few little, I think, places there that we sort of align to with what you were bringing through, Deni, as well. But before I finish off, I just want to bring in the message from the Akasha this week. And so this was that deep healing is taking place within your sacral chakra this week. This is a collective reset that allows you to heal more deeply at the emotional level of awareness. This activation brings a deeper connection to joy, to creativity, to passion, and to pleasure. It allows you to heal all resistance to deserving to feel good and deepens your sense of joy in your heart. Holding the frequency of joy is your path forwards. Your life is meant to be joyful. Allow this soul transmission to assist you to lift your vibration. Embody the color orange that heals the body and invigorates the mind. Whew.
Beautiful. I love the bird messengers. I know, Fi, last time we met up in person before lockdown happened, we sat on a cliff overlooking the sea, and the birds just came about as close as you could possibly come to us. And they came as these sets of birds, if you remember. And yes, for me, birds have always been they've always come with very specific messages, depending on how they're moving, or how they're showing up, or what actual bird it is that I'm noticing. So yes, I'm with you on that. What word did you use? An augur, is that right?
An augur, yeah. So
Which
an
is
augur is a person who reads the messages of often of birds, but I think in Roman times they used to be the people that read omens and symbols for things that were coming, really, as a predictive way of working. But they often did that through birds, and it would be through noticing, as you just said there, actually, what type of bird, what the birds were doing, how they were flying, all of these different ways. And I feel like, because there's so much activity out there at the moment, wherever I go, they're really speaking to us. And that's happened to me a couple of times in the past that I can think of in recent years, and has always been followed by something pretty big. So I think the birds are talking to us at the moment. We just need to listen. So just notice around you what they're doing at the moment, and feel in intuitively to what that might mean for you.
It's interesting, as you were saying that, a couple of things came up. Number one, my mother's maiden name is Auger. It's actually French, but it's spelt auger. So that's like, if you were to see it, that's how you'd pronounce it. It just really resonated with that name, because that's, something that I do a lot, is see all those signs in nature. And as you were talking about the birds, the other thing that's really speaking loudly is the ocean, and the dolphins and the whales, which we can't always hear, but it strikes me that the birds are the ones that maybe deliver the messages from out at the ocean.
And I mean, where we live at the moment, the whales are passing through. They're going north, and we can't always see them, but you can certainly feel their energy. Even, I often go and sit up and look over the ocean, but you can, and hoping that they will surface. But when they don't, still being able to feel into their energy. So yes, I love that perception that maybe the birds are bringing those messages to us.
And that the depth of wisdom that is in our oceans, that we often probably don't have an awareness of. Because the animals, those big animals under the sea, have such big brains and ways of communicating that we're not capable of. Interesting. Thanks
Beautiful.
for that, Fi.
You're welcome. Well, it feels like it's going to be a beautiful week ahead, so I hope everyone enjoys it.
Well, a week of growth, of endings and beginnings, as you know, and love and desire.
Yay.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.